Hi, and welcome to this week's Grammar Spotlight. Today we're going to talk about less and fewer, and when to use each one. But in order to do that, we have to talk about the nouns that less and fewer modify. All nouns can be divided into two categories. And no, we're not talking about proper nouns and common nouns. We're talking about count nouns and mass nouns, or non-count nouns. As their name might suggest, count nouns are countable. They can be pluralized by adding s, and they can take the indefinite article a. For example, house is a count noun, because I can count it, pluralize it, and use a before it. For count nouns, fewer is used. Thus I have fewer houses, fewer monkeys, and 10 items or fewer. Wait. Mass nouns or non-count nouns are nouns that cannot be divided into countable units, such as information. Information cannot be counted, cannot be pluralized by adding s, and cannot be used with a. Thus I have less information, less homework, and less furniture. Not fewer informations, fewer homeworks, and fewer furnitures. But be careful, because there are words that can be used as both count nouns and mass nouns. Salt, for example, is normally used as a mass noun. There is less salt on the food than on the table. But in chemistry, I might have fewer salts than I'm accustomed to. And now the exceptions. What good would a rule be without exceptions? Less is often used in place of fewer when dealing with expressions of measurement and time. So I make less than $12 an hour, and their child is less than 2 years old. While there are some exceptions, keeping in mind the general rule of fewer for count nouns and less for non-count nouns will give you a lot less heartache. And in case you were wondering, yes, this is a prescriptive rule. Less used to be considered perfectly adequate for count nouns and mass nouns. The entry for less in the Oxford English Dictionary shows that as far back as 888 AD, when we were still speaking Old English, less was used with count nouns as well. But that isn't the only example that Oxford lists. John Lilly, an early modern English writer of the 16th century, wrote the following in his book, The Anatomy of Wit. I think there are few universities that have less faults than Oxford, many that have more. And yes, those these and yous and that then are written correctly, at least for 16th century English. Until next time, I hope you have less sorrow and fewer troubles than usual this week. Or else, fewer sorrows and less trouble than usual. As I said, some nouns are both count nouns and non-count nouns.